Kada se sa 6 godina sin italijanskih migranata u dresu Manchester Uniteda slikao sa legendarnim George Bestom, nije ni slutio da će njegova karijera otići u potpuno drugom pravcu. Ljubomorni suparnici su ga ozlijedili i perspektivni fudbaler postao je pripadnik 7. sile. Prvo iskustvo stekao je sa 16 godina u lokalnim novinama u južnom Manchesteru, a prvi dokumentarni film nastao je tako što je 6 sedmica proveo kao beskućnik na ulicama Birminghama da bi razotkrio dilera heroina. Od tada do danas učestvovao je u preko 35 dokumentarnih filmova i serija. Radio je za sve relevantne televizijske kuće, BBC, Kanal 4 i 5, Discovery Channel, National Geographic, Al Jazeera i mnoge druge. U dokumentarnom serijalu Drugs Incorporated zadobio je povjerenje dilera droge da stanu pred njegovu kameru. Radio je priče o prostituciji, ljudskim fenomenima, snimao u ekstremno opasnim uvjetima u Ciudad Juarezu u Meksiku, a njegova kamera snimala je i u ratnim zonama. Razotkrivao je korupciju političara, a na osnovu njegovih filmova nevini ljudi pušteni su iz zatvora.
With the most smokers in sub-Saharan Africa, Kenya has become a major market for big tobacco.
U filmu Africa Investigates Lighting Up, zajedno sa lokalnom novinarkom, otkrio je kriminal velike korporacije British American Tobacco. Dokumentarni film Kosti koje govore vodi nas među meksičke istražitelje koji istražuju nestanak i smrti stotine žena. Dobitnik je mnogih nagrada za istraživačko novinarstvo, a film Kosti koje govore nominovan je za Emmy u kategoriji za istraživačko novinarstvo.
USA! Yeah!
Radio je i sa legendarnim Michaelom Moorom na filmu Siko, koji je nominovan za Oscara. Trenutno je angažovan na Al Jazeera na serijalu Ljudi i moć. Nakon godina i godina u istraživačkom novinarstvu, strast za ovim poslom još uvijek ga drži kao i prvog dana. Nedavno je posjetio Al Jazeera festival dokumentarnog filma u Sarajevu i sa istom strašću prenosio svoje znanje mlađim generacijama. Producent je, redatelj i novinar. Njegovo ime je
Giovanni Ulleri. Mr. Ulleri, thank you for this opportunity and your time to speak for our magazine Žurnal.
Thank you for inviting me.
Your life is very interesting. You wanted to become a football player, but you got injured and became a successful filmmaker. And I suppose you could not get away from the sports, and that you filmed drugs and football. How did you get the idea for that film?
I've always had a passion for the game, but for a clean game. And what was interesting was that there have been quite a few cases of professional footballers taking performance-enhancing drugs. Now, everyone was aware of performance-enhancing drugs in athletics or cycling, but everyone said, oh, it's different in football. People don't do performance-enhancing drugs in the professional soccer world. Yet, there were various cases of football teams who were doing blood testing on their players and giving them extra chemicals, shall we say, to increase their stamina and increase their growth hormone to make them stronger, which meant that they could play longer. I mean, the game has changed, football has changed in the last 15, 20 years, where now, goals are scored in the last 2 minutes. And these guys have been running for 95 minutes, and there's only a certain amount of body fitness that level you can get that. So I was always a bit suspicious, the fact that everyone said in professional soccer there was no performance-enhancing drugs. And the reality is there were. I mean, for example, there was a big case of Juventus Football Club, and we interviewed the prosecutor, the magistrate in Turin, who explained the fact that they did a raid at Juventus Football Club, and they discovered these drugs, chemicals, that the only reason why they're there for performance enhancing.
Where you changed as a person because of your films and your job in general?
Every single film changes you, affects you. I always have a duty of care to the people who are in my films, particularly to the survivors. I call them survivors. We as journalists often refer to them as victims. They're not victims in my mind, they're survivors. And I feel responsible because I'm putting their story on national television. And my responsibility is to making sure I do justice to them and their story. It's not my story. I've just got the skills to get them outside there. What they have, it's their personal story. They live that story every day. I'm kind of like a storyteller. I'm just the conduit between them and sharing that story, with hopefully sharing the story so that things improve for the better, so that life improves, so we make a difference. The reason why I became a journalist is because I want to make a difference. I want, even if it's exposing corruption or whatever it is, it's to say that, you know, this is wrong. This is wrong, what's going on is wrong, and we need to be better people. We need to improve, and we need to make the world a better place. I mean, we've only got one life, and if we can help make a difference, I mean, I'm blessed in the sense that, you know, I pinch myself. You know, there's part of me that would have loved to have been a professional footballer with all the money that they get and the glamorous lifestyle, but actually I think I found my vocation in life, and my vocation in life is making documentaries, which I hope, not some of them have made a small difference in the world, but I hope they do make a difference. At least even if one person changes their perception or judgment on somebody else. For example, you know, we judge people with the colour of their skin, we judge people with their occupation, or we judge people because they're drug dealers or they're addicts, heroin addicts. We judge them and we think, you know, oh, we'd never do that. They're lower than us. It's their own fault. They're losers.
You were in danger several times to get killed because of your job.
I've been threatened countless times. I've kind of lost count with the amount of times I've been threatened. You accept that as part of the deal. I'm very saying that though. I don't take that in a blasé way. I am not a martyr. I have been to too many funerals of journalist colleagues of mine that lost their life. No story is worth losing your life for. It's just not, because it means you can't come back again another day. And you know, it's just, I'm very conscious about proper risk assessments, proper procedures in place, proper security that you have. You have to, the way I always say to people is that, you know, you have to prepare for every eventuality, including the threats, death threats that you get, but you have to ameliorate them by doing due diligence for your own safety. No one's going to look after my life apart from me, and I want to keep doing this. And if certain films I can't do because they'll kill me, for example, I'd have loved to have gone to Aleppo. So, but for me going into Aleppo, when what was going on there, I couldn't do it. So we had to find another way where we found local people there that lived there, that they could do it because they were there and they were staying. So that's how we got the story broadcast, but it didn't risk, you know, someone from the Western media turning up there, and it was done, and the story was still spread. We were able to get the message out and the journalism out.
Does a person have to be a little bit insane to do investigative journalism the way you do it?
Yeah, that's why I'm single, because all my girlfriends have left me because they say I'm mad. I'm completely bonkers. Yeah, I mean, perhaps I am mad, but for me, journalism is something that somebody doesn't want published. The rest is public relations. I'm not into public relations. I'm not into reality TV. I'm not into any of that kind of stuff. You know, I want to make a difference and improve the planet that we live on. So, in answer to your question, yeah, you must be a bit crazy because they don't pay well. I don't do it for the money. Trust me, I don't do it for the money. I do it because if I can help one person who watches any of my films change their idea, change their perception, you know, bring a minister, a corrupt minister, you know, to task. There's a phrase that a series I used to work on called World in Action, which was affect the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. In other words, help the poorest, help the weakest in society, give them a voice, and expose corruption, expose the greed, and people who are feeding off other people. And that's my job. And I kind of, don't get me wrong, it's difficult, but your channel, your network is doing the same thing in far less resources, far more dangerous probably. And so congratulations the fact that you're doing your work, because you do it in probably far more dangerous situations than I'm doing it.
You have been filming drug dealers once. How did you get their trust? Because they are people who do not have any reason to testify about their crimes, for which they can even get arrested.
It's going and realizing that everybody, every single one of us, has had difficult choices to make. So, a drug dealer, he wasn't born a drug dealer, didn't become a drug dealer from growing up. Something happened in their life that they became a drug dealer. And every person you meet has a story. There was a turning point, there was something that happened. So I never judge anybody. And I think we all judge people. We judge people because of their color, we judge people because of the profession, we judge people because of their class, the color of their hair, how much they weigh. We're judging all the time. And what I'm trying to do is to say to people, you know, even a drug dealer's got a story. Let's find out why, what happened. And honestly, trust me, I know this people may think I'm mad for saying this. Some of the nicest people I've met have been drug dealers. Some of the most horrible people I've met are supposedly in some of the best professions in the world, whether they be lawyers, politicians, you name it. They've been completely hypocritical, immoral, whereas the drug dealer, who you would assume would be all of those things, actually had no choices, and they were trying to do the best with what they have, with no education, no resources, no money, in an area where probably your life expectancy is very small.
What can you tell us about your experience with secret recording and filming?
I've done countless hidden camera. I used to teach people how to do hidden camera. It's very difficult for me these days because of the internet now, and as soon as your face is known, they just need to put your name in, and that's why I'm always very careful telling people, young students, you know, don't put too much on Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat or whatever it is. I'm a bit old, so all these are very new to me. You've got to be very careful. With hidden camera, you've got to justify the reasons for why you need to use a hidden camera. I could have easily have done a lot of my stuff far more easy without telling them that I was secretly filming them. That would be the easiest thing to do. The hardest thing to do is to convince them to go on camera with a big camera like your camera. That's the hardest thing.
When and where was the hardest film or record secretly?
I mean, the hardest one I did was exposing a heroin dealer in a city called Birmingham, which is in the middle of the UK. He was convicted, but he was not allowed to run homes for the homeless. Yet he was drug dealing from these homes. So, how do you go about doing it? Well, I had to pretend to be homeless. So I went on the streets of Birmingham for, I think it was about 4 weeks, as a homeless person with a hidden camera, trying to capture images to prove that he was running those care homes, that he was actively running them, and that also that he was dealing drugs in those homes. And trust me, when you're freezing cold and it's snowing and you're homeless on the streets, I'll never ever walk past a homeless person again because of it. Because they're, for the grace of God, 2 paychecks away from homelessness, we all could be in that situation. And we did the program, and he went to prison. And he sent me a death threat as well, which I regard as a job done.
Is a big budget a guarantee for a successful film?
No.
What is more important, the money or the idea for the film?
The idea for the film. No, there's no money. There's no money in this. If you want to make money, do a reality show or make something which is got lots of...
For documentary.
Oh, for documentary. But I mean, for example, you know, if you made a film about, I don't know, models of fashion, whatever, you'll probably get loads of advertising. You do really well financially. There's no controversy. It's I call it, like I said before, it's PR. It's just, you know, there's no problem. If you want to do investigations and documentary, it takes time. On my tombstone will be written, Giovanni only asked for another week. Give me another week and I can get more, because we're always got that competing thing of budget and time. And you know, it's a bit like, the way I describe it, it's a bit like a chef. The better ingredients you have that you've discovered, that you found, the better the dish. But at the end of the day, if that's the ingredients that you have, you make the best of what you can with the ingredients and the time you have. And you know, some dishes are a lot tastier than others, and I'm a lot more proud of their production value than I am, but actually the content. For example, I made a film with a beautiful, amazing woman journalist in Kenya and we took on the biggest multinational billion corporation in the world, British American Tobacco. Me and her, with hardly any resources. They made profits of something like $9 billion. They had lawyers coming out of their ears, and we got that program on air. When you look at it, you think, well, actually, Gio, your camera work's a bit ropey, that's a bit off, that was like done like that. But when you realized we did that beginning to end in 8 weeks, and we took on a multinational billion-dollar corporation, and we got it on air with all the legal problems that they threw at us, obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, I'm really proud of that film.
Do you know anything about the situation in Balkans and Bosnia and Herzegovina? Do you plan to make here in the Balkans any of your future films?
I will, and I'm hoping I'm going to work with you guys. Thank you. Because you're the experts. I've found people in the Balkans that think the same way as me. So guys, the invitation is there. Let's come up with a story. Let's do it together. And yes, I'd love to work with you guys, if that's all right with you.
We can start tomorrow. You have been cooperating with Michaelom Moorom.
Yes. I worked on a documentary which was nominated for an Oscar. I had a very small part in it. I was a UK, Europe producer. And that was amazing because from what I do to what he does, his budget was something like $6–7 million. 2 cameras, all top-end cameras. He shoots for hours and hours, everything. And then he hones it down. He has focus groups. So he'll play the film. Focus groups will say, oh, that bit was a bit boring, so they'll cut it down. I mean, it's marketing, it's structured. I mean, it's a different world, that kind of documentary. I mean, that's the kind of documentary. I could make 100, well, let me say, I could make 1,000 films for the price of one of his films. Do you know what I mean? But not saying that, I love his films, don't get me wrong. I'm glad he's doing it because what he has done, he's made documentary successful financially. And not only successful, what he's saying is important because he appeals to a mass audience. So I love Michael. He filmed in my flat, my own flat in London, and no one believed me. You know, like I was a fan of his when he wrote Stupid White People all the way back to his early films of Roger and Me, when he exposed the Ford plant when he's one of his first films. So I love the guy and he was brilliant. Joy to work with. And his team, he has the best team in the business.
What is the most important thing for a documentary? One thing.
The most important thing, you can't say one thing. The most important thing is tell a story and do justice to the people in the story. So in other words, like I said to you before, if you can do one thing, is be true and honest to the people in your film. Make those people in your film be proud the fact that they talk to you and do justice to them, treat them well and try and honor them. I honor these people. Like I said to you before, I went to Mexico, I met the bravest, most courageous women I've ever met in my whole life. And you know, every time I think of them, whenever when I'm feeling down or I'm struggling in life, I remember those women who were campaigning for justice for their daughters that had been brutally raped and murdered. And they risked their lives every day. And every time I'm feeling a bit miserable, thinking, man, this is difficult, you know, I should pack it in and get a job in PR where I've got loads of money and I know where the next bill I can pay, where I'm going to pay for the next holiday, rather than being freelance and you're worried when am I going to earn a living. And I think of those women, those amazing women, and that gives me courage and strength.
In the end, message for young movie maker.
Love what you do. I love what I do. I'm blessed. Don't get me wrong, like I said, part of me, when I watch the World Cup and when I watch, you know, big European Champions League, there's a part of me that thinks, oh man, it would be so nice to walk out and play football on that field. But saying that, I've kind of got the second best thing, which is hopefully, you know, if people watch my films and their judgment is changed for the better, for the positive, having watched my films. We live in a world of fake news and Trump putting people down, discriminating against people because of the colour of their skin, abusing people, negative stuff. And if people can be nice and kind to people and realise that we're all the same, regardless of the colour of your skin, your sexual orientation, what you do, if we can just be decent to each other. Why is so difficult? It's not rocket science. If we can make films which say, for goodness sake, don't judge. Let's not judge each other. Let's be kind and decent to each other. And that's the kind of world I want to live in. That's the kind of thing I hope young filmmakers, when they go away, that they come away with that passion. But just do something. It doesn't have to be what I'm doing, because I found something that is a vocation for me. But whatever it is that you want to do in life, do it, give it all, give it 100% and enjoy it. It's never going to be easy all the time. They say you need 1,000 hours to master anything. So give it 1,000 hours. Don't give up. This is a marathon. I always say to people, you know, it's like running a marathon. There's times when you hit the wall and you think, I want to quit, I'm going to stop. That's the time when you've got to dig in. That's the time when I think of those mothers in Mexico that I dig in and I keep going. I keep going. So whatever it is, whatever passion you have, give it 100% and enjoy it. And realize that we're blessed. We're blessed because we're healthy. We're blessed because we live in a world, I mean, you guys know better than me, you know, we live in a world which is dangerous and difficult. And the key thing is to kind of, you know, show that, you know, reveal that, and try and make the world a better place.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck. I mean that when you said you want to work, I want to work with you guys. So let's do it, eh? Get a story and let's do it. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you.